Hi, my name is Elizabeth Davis, and I'm doing my presentation on autism spectrum disorder. Now, I know I'm supposed to have a partner, however, I don't for this. I wanted to let everyone know that, just pay attention to role A. There is no role B for this presentation. Autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder. Um, And according to our Francis text, a screening question for autism spectrum disorder is: does your child avoid interpersonal contact, not understand social cues, repeat strange stereotype behaviors, or have language problems? And I think that's a good place to start because a lot of, and I'll refer to it as ASD, has to deal primarily with um, language and social interactions. So according to our DSM-5, part of the diagnostic criteria for ASD is persistent deficits in social communication and social interaction across multiple contexts, and then which is manifested by different factors. So the first is deficits in social and emotional interactions, ranging, for example, from abnormal social approach and failure of normal back and forth conversation to reduced sharing of interests, emotions, or affect to failure to initiate or respond to social interactions. A second factor is nonverbal communicative behaviors. So, for example, not making eye contact, um, unable to understand certain body language, um, and failure to understand certain gestures, and to a total lack of facial expressions and nonverbal communication. And then thirdly, deficits in developing, maintaining, and understanding relationships, ranging, for example, from difficulties adjusting behavior to suit various social contexts, to difficulties in sharing imaginative play or in making friends, to absence of interest in peers. So that is the diagnostic criteria A. Now for B, it deals with restricted, repetitive patterns of behavior or interests or activities. So, for example, stereotyped or repetitive motor movements, use of objects or speech, insistence on sameness, inflexible adherence to routines, or um, patterns of verbal or nonverbal behavior. So, for example, extreme distress at small changes, or highly restricted or fixated interests. And then lastly, hyper or hyporeactivity to sensory input or unusual interest in sensory aspects of the environment. And then, of course, there's criteria C, D, and E. So, similar to other disorders from the DSM-5, symptoms must be present in the early developmental period. Symptoms can cause clinically significant impairment in social, occupational, other important areas of functioning, and these disturbances are not better explained elsewhere. So, by another possible disorder like an intellectual developmental disorder, or some type of other developmental delay. So again, the main criteria really is focusing around social communication and social interaction, and then also by restricted, repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities. Now, there's different levels of severity for autism spectrum disorder. The third requiring very substantial support. The second requiring substantial support but not very, and then of course level 1 requiring support. So really what this looks like is in level 3 of severity level, requiring very substantial support, is an individual who has minimal vocabulary, doesn't initiate conversation, rarely even initiates any kind of social interaction. And then when they do, it's unusual or, abnormal. The second level, an individual is able to speak in simple sentences, and they have interactions, but it's narrow, it's narrowed or limited to special interests, and it can be some odd nonverbal communication happening as well. The level 1 support consists of someone who, is able to speak in full sentences and engages in communication, but they may not be able to make friends easily, or they may appear to have decreased interest in social interactions. Okay, so diagnostic features. So, I'm sure everyone is familiar with Asperger's disorder, and, now autism spectrum disorder, encompasses previous disorders, including Asperger's, and the others that are listed there as well. But again, the main diagnostic features are relating back to intellectual impairment and also language impairment. Okay, so this actually struck me because I was surprised. So the prevalence for ASD is approximately 1% of the population. So that's not US, that's globally. And I thought that it would be a higher percentage, so that actually kind of surprised me. And I'm not necessarily sure if it's because in certain cultures, based off cultural norms, that ASD is not recognized or diagnosed, or if just, it's been overdiagnosed within the US, and, so many different people that you meet, are diagnosed with ASD when, it is really something else going on. All right, so the development and course of ASD. So usually ASD is first recognized, from 12 to 24 months. So approximately when a kid's around 2 years old. Some of the first signs are delayed language development, and then again, unusual social interaction. So it keeps going back to that language and social, those two aspects. So that's when it's first diagnosed. Then really it depends on an individual's social status, the type of support they have, their financial support that that the family has, where an individual who has ASD goes. So, and also again to the severity of the ASD. Remember, we talked about the 3 different levels. So depending on all those factors, really deciphers whether an individual with ASD can live independently as an adult, and only a small proportion are able to do that. Risk and prognostic factors. So the presence or absence of associated intellectual disability and language impairment, and additional mental health problems. Really, if an individual has functional language by age 5, then that is a really good prognostic sign. So again, it's going back to the language. Some risk factors are environmental, so advanced parental age, if parents are older, low birth weight, fetal exposure to valproate, and I didn't know what valproate was, so I looked it up, and apparently it's a medication taken for people who have epilepsy, who are bipolar. So it's interesting that there is the connection with that. Genetic and physiological. So according to the DSM-5, heritability estimates for autism spectrum disorder have ranged from 37 to higher than 90%, which is super high. And only approximately 15% of those with ASD, it's associated with a known genetic mutation. So, but I'm still going back to the up to and over 90% for heritability. That's pretty high. Culture and gender. So I know previously I briefly discussed how, culture can affect when an individual may be recognized for ASD. So according to our DSM-5, states that in the United States, late or undiagnosed diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder among African American children may occur. So that's when I had talked about the population of ASD is 1% globally. Well, it could possibly be higher, but because of different cultural and socioeconomic factors, it may not be presented. Another thing, so if you are a male, you are 4 times more likely to have ASD, which is also interesting that it's, so the prevalence is such higher in males than it is females. There are a few different differential diagnoses, so things to rule out, instead of ASD, and you can see them, so ADHD, schizophrenia, intellectual disabilities, they're all within there, so it's things to consider and rule out to make sure it truly is ASD and not one of these others listed here. Comorbidity for ASD. Approximately 70% with ASD may have one comorbid mental disorder, and approximately 40% may have 2 or more mental disorders, which is also a pretty high percentage. So what this means is many individuals with autism spectrum disorder have psychiatric symptoms that do not form part of the diagnostic criteria for the disorder. So this includes anxiety disorder, depressive disorders, and it can be difficult because individuals who are nonverbal or have language deficits, it may be difficult to recognize these other disorders. So you have to pay attention to changes in sleep or eating or difference in behaviors or sleep problems. There's so many different things. Well, that is my presentation on ASD. It was just a little synopsis because there is so much with autism spectrum disorder. But again, the main things concern language and social interactions. And really, there's different severities. Like I discussed, 3 severities to ASD. So one person with ASD, may look completely different than someone else. And here is my additional YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you so much.